You know all that gang violence in Chicago?
Of course. There's gang violence in Chicago.
Well, like, Chicago's been, like, extremely violent. And at first, they took away all the guns out of Chicago. And it still was extremely violent. And, like, people were getting shot all the time, like, every day.
Yeah, it did nothing.
Yeah. But, and everyone's like, what's going on? What's going on? And it turned out they had, well, it's the speculation, I guess, that they had arrested, like, a whole lot of top and mid-level, like, drug dealer leader guys. Like, they went after they got all the big fish at, like, one time, and it left this huge vacuum of somebody wants to make that money still. And so that's what's going on. It's like a war. It's a war. The war on drugs caused a war in Chicago over a war on drugs.
So you're saying other people want to take the boss's place?
Yeah, they're trying to take the reins. It's like they just cut the head off, and then it's all still there. Like the infrastructure is still there. So what did that do?
Right. So what should they do?
I don't know what they should do.
Where do they get their guns?
Where do they get their guns? I don't know.
Black market.
Black market. They're too far north to get them from Operation Give Guns to Mexico.
Giving guns to Mexico, dude.
They were. It was like that's what the Operation Fast and Furious was. They were purposely giving. I don't know if it worked that they worked through gun dealers or they just kind of flooded Mexico with these guns. But all these drug dealers in Mexico ended up with all these guns, and they were trying to track drug dealers with these guns. But all that happened was a bunch of people got killed. I think a border agent got killed with one of the guns that the U.S. government was responsible for. They say they have. It's one of those things that just quickly went away, and we all have such a short attention span. As no one's talking about it. Well, of course, no one's talking about it. Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
And Mexico was crazy. Mexico was off the hook. That's what we were looking up. That's what I was arguing with my Mr. White about, my ethics teacher. It's because we all get so afraid over these beheadings in Mexico. They beheaded 3 people, and I was looking. I wish I had those numbers in front of me. But it's so many people have gotten beheaded in Mexico over the last. It's been since 2007. The place has been crazy, and tons of Americans have been killed. Tons of civilians in Mexico have been killed, but they're containing it and they're making all this money. So why don't we care about it? We don't want to do anything about it because then where will we get our drugs? They're the number one importer of marijuana into this country. They're real big on cocaine, and they're not real big on heroin, I read, but they do heroin.
You meant there's only 3 beheadings in Iraq, and we care about it, right?
Iraq, whatever.
You said Mexico.
Well, I thought I said, maybe said Afghanistan. Yeah, there's 3 beheadings.
And we care so much about that.
We care so much about 3 dead Americans. It's just because when Americans die in Mexico, it's the war on drugs, and it's oh, well, you should have been dealing drugs in the first place, you fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
But it's we all do drugs, whether you drink coffee, or you take sleeping pills, or you drink Monster, you drink Red Bull, you drink alcohol, the worst drug ever. That's one of the biggest lobbies. One of the biggest lobbies I read the other day I was surprised about that I shouldn't have been was the prescription drug and alcohol lobbyists lobbying so hard to keep marijuana illegal. So that because if most people could smoke, if they could just go home and smoke a joint, maybe they wouldn't drink all the time because of hangovers in their liver and Yeah.
Yeah.
You could smoke one joint compared to like a 6-pack. And you'd be more relaxed. You wouldn't do as much dumb shit.
Yeah. But do you want the government to have control over the marijuana?
No. Why do they have to have control over it?
Because it becomes legal, so it becomes like an FDA approved thing.
Yeah, but even the states that it's legalized in and it ran by state, you're allowed to grow like 10 plants. And
Medical or
what
recreational?
recreational, I believe. Like what my buddy Jeff was telling me at Ryan's wedding is that you can like sell your plants, your like stock and plants to like a dispensary.
Yeah.
Like if you're not gonna grow, you can your little I don't know piece of paper. Your right to grow, you give away your right to this dispensary. So that's 10 more plants that they can grow.
Yeah. And then
Which is such a good idea.
Dispensaries sell the clones to the people.
Yeah, even people who don't smoke weed, people who are not happy about marijuana being legal, can make money off this because they're still, even if you didn't vote for marijuana being legal, you still get your 10 plants, you know.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, well, I'm not growing them. Then they're gonna grow them anyway. I don't know, just give them to them.
That's interesting.
The other big lobbyists are prisons, prison guards. Prison guards is a big one. Prison guard lobbyists, because they'll be out of a job. But with the war on drugs, tell me why. Why is so much heroin in this country now? Why?
My thing
It's
is
everywhere now. Ever since we invaded Afghanistan, the Taliban weren't letting them grow poppy. Ever since we invaded Afghanistan, the amount of poppy and opium leaving Afghanistan, it's increased like 300%. War on drugs. War in Afghanistan. You can't fight in Afghanistan if you tell them they can't grow poppy because it's their number one crop. You know, they're in the fucking desert. It's like whatever they can grow, they should be able to fucking grow.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. And we make medicine out of it. We do all kinds of things. So I'm sure pharmaceutical companies are loving the big increase. But like growing up, I never heard around us there wasn't heroin around.
Yeah. I didn't know there's that big of an increase.
Yeah, let's look it up.
I don't know anything about heroin.
You don't know anything about heroin? You want to do some?
No.